Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the update for yesterday, which was Thursday, May the 20th of 2026. So, I was back in the classroom today, and once again, I was teaching elementary PE. Now, I know I told this story like a week and a half ago, or a couple weeks now. Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you that day. I was doing PE over at the Roadrunner School. Now, in an episode a couple months back, I listed out my school framework. Basically, the vast majority of the subbing days that I do are in one of three middle schools, the elementary below them, and the high school above them. All right. And this and so and they're and by design, and I've done this by design. There are three different sets that don't border each other in three different districts. And I do this for a variety of different reasons. And one of the big reasons is variety. All right. Because these three districts come from three quite different situations. One of them is quite literally my neighborhood. All right. Like, for example, if I, heard some kind of noise outside the window behind me, and I do live in an apartment, and there's a grassy area out there where young people can play and stuff like that. The chances that I've encountered that, or will at some point encounter that student in what I call the Roadrunner school, or the schools that it feeds into, are quite high. All right, it's literally my neighborhood. Another one, I mentioned the Fox School, and I mentioned the Skyhawk School a couple of times. Both of those are in a track, and that's a high SES, to use industry jargon, where there aren't too many economic disadvantages in that district. Everywhere has some, and that plays an impact. And that district also, for whatever reason, might be SES, I'm not sure, just does some really unique things and that are really cool to be a part of. I have a photograph somewhere from when this school, which is a public school, basically hired somebody to take a dramatic picture of their school logo where the design was the kids kneeling in t-shirts that were a appropriate color to make this sky art thing. It was really, really cool. All right. But those type of things happen there. And then there's the other column, which is the one we're talking about today. When I did the high school day, that I said was actually my first day leading a full day where I am the one running the room myself, rather than being a para or learning support or something of that effect, or bouncing from one room to the next all day long. And I think I did that on March the 30th this year. My first time in charge of a high school class. It was and I called it the Hawk School. The Hornet School, where I was at today, feeds into the Hawk School. All right. And so, and those, I believe, are the schools that I've talked about so far in these videos. And again, this year has been really screwy for me because I missed out on a lot of teaching time because of the situation with mom and dad and all that stuff. And so I haven't been able to do nearly as much as I wanted, but I did have the opportunity today. And so I saw PE at the Hornet School. The Hornet School specifically, of any of them, falls in a unique spot for me. First, it was where I did my student teaching. student teaching is like that internship. If you ever had a class where there's like an intern teaching and the class pretends to respect the intern as much as they do the regular teacher. Yeah. So that's where I did my internship. Honestly, great place to do an internship. A very forgiving atmosphere there, I and my internship ended up being weird anyway because it was the fall. It was the fall quarter that I did my internship, and this happened to be the year that people involved with education or have had kids in the educational system in the last like 15 years, they'll all remember it. It was the year of the 13 to 15 snow days, depending on what year, what class you were in, or I mean, what district you were in. It was nuts. Local districts were in school almost until July that year, and that was in addition to extending days and that was a unique year. It was also the year of fidget spinners and slime. But anyway, that was when I did my student teaching, and it was there. And this particular school only has one of each building. I mean, there's one elementary, one middle, and one high school. And what's neat about that is that if, for example, I can teach in a 5th grade at the Hornet School and tell them unequivocally, we'll see you next year in 6th grade. And it's basically 100% that you will. Very few kids move in that area. And also, they all go up together. You have your same 5 or 6 classroom cohort the entire way up. And where that goes is that I had mentioned on a previous occasion something that I really wanted to do this year called Project 2039. Basically, what that would have been was looking in the subsystem for openings in the preschool program at that particular building and do as many of those as I can for an entire school year. And then the next year, look in the system, and this is in addition to the other subbing jobs and everything else that I'm doing, but specifically looking for when kindergarten teachers are out in that particular building. Next year, 1st grade. For as long as I can sustain doing this. That was something that I've been planning out for like 6 months to implement when I started subbing in September. Mom had her accident that changed everything for us on September the 23rd. So it didn't happen. But I'm leaning strongly towards Project 2040 coming this September. And that would be right there in the Hornet School. And I'll definitely keep you guys posted as to whether or not I actually follow through on that. Hopefully I do. Honestly, I'm not 1,000% sure, or I might have to go and appeal being taken off the sub list for not achieving enough days in that district this year. I think I'll be successful in getting reinstated if that happens, but it's not a guarantee. But hopefully, because it's so awesome, and I would love to see if, like almost like a capstone project to my subbing career. See how far you can follow a cohort along. And if it was actually successful in doing that, doing the math, I would be not all the way, but late 50s by the time that you watch them graduate. How cool would that be? What an amazing thing if you were able to pull that off as a capstone for a career subbing. Anyway, so that's kind of an introduction to a very special building, and basically I taught PE. Have a good one, everyone. Talk to you later.